Well, why am I not surprised? President Trump gets shot up by some left-wing nut job. Goes to figure. Look at what happened to that Republican baseball game. What was it, like 8 years ago or something, with Bernie Sanders staffer went there and shot up these Republicans. You know, the left always talks about how intolerant they are of the right's violence. But I remember Black Bloc, I remember Antifa, I remember Black Lives Matter, and I remember a whole lot of violence and destruction. And every time I see some sort of a violent attack on a political figure, it is a, left wing attacking a right wing. And this tranny community, and I'm going to use that word as respectfully as I can, because I don't believe anybody can transition into a female or anybody can transition into a male. They either are or they aren't. They either have XY or they have XX chromosomes. There is no trans anything, no more than there can be a transracial. I can't go from white to black, even though I have a lot of black skin. I've used that to make a point to my kids when I've talked to them about, because I have black skin, does it mean I'm a black man? Can't I just say I'm black now? No, they don't accept that. But they believe that you can transition from one gender to another, possibly even one species to another, but not racially. At least my oldest kid, said that was inappropriate for me to say that I was trans black. It was just a point, same thing that Dave Chappelle said about being, trans Chinese, stuck in that body of his. I just think that these people are probably the most violent political activists that I've ever met. And if you remember that fella, it's ma'am, I'm telling you it's ma'am, or whatever, I'm a ma'am. And, he's this big Marine looking fellow with, doesn't look like a woman, but says he's a woman. Doesn't sound like a woman, but says he's a woman, and wants to attack the dude at Blockbuster or GameStop or whatever. It was GameStop. Blockbuster's been gone for a while, hasn't it? But starts threatening this dude to take him outside and beat him up because he assumed he was a man, and he was a man. So, yeah, he got it right, but the guy wanted to kill him for it. I've came up against this myself. I've fought a tranny recently myself, and it wasn't even my intention to fight this tranny. The tranny attacked me. I've got it all recorded. It's crazy what happened, but it has affected my kids greatly. A lot of this has. And, whether it's, transgender, transvestite, trans species, trans race, trans whatever. Remember that Rachel Dolezal from Spokane, who was the leader of the local NAACP, and she was telling everybody she was black, but she was born this little redheaded white girl with pasty skin, and then she was outed or whatever. It's just madness. You are what you are, what you are, Trans this, trans that is just silly. It just opens the door for a whole bunch of creative confusion. And as creative as it is, the confusion makes it really difficult to deal with society. And I just can't believe how violent these people are. Now Trump is a martyr. Now Trump, no matter what his political ideology is, people are going to rally around him because he was just shot at and almost killed, It shot and hit his ear. Dude gets up like a champ and is like, yeah! Just radical dude. I love him for that reason. I wouldn't like to probably have a beer with him. Well, I probably would now. I really want to have a talk with Trump now. I really like Trump now more than I ever liked Trump before, just because he is such a badass and he is bulletproof, and I love it about him. I just wish, honestly, that JFK would have been as bulletproof as Trump, because JFK, Democrat or not, was a great president. Shit person. I wouldn't want to have a beer with Kennedy either. Wouldn't want to necessarily I've always said I wouldn't want to have a beer with Trump. I didn't vote for Trump, but I think a lot of people are going to change their mind about Trump now, and it all has to do with these left-wing radicals being violent. It always kicks back. Every time they try to cancel something or ban something or kill something or disturb something or burn down a city, it doesn't help their cause. Look where Black Lives Matter is now. I haven't seen any of it at all for years, since they started burning down cities all over. Baltimore, Detroit, all these places they burned down. I don't see that happening anymore. I don't see a big presence there because the blowback of the violence shut them down. Us right-wing type of people, I'd say I'm right-leaning on financial issues and more left-leaning on social issues, or at least I believe in liberty and freedom, but I also believe in, if the government's going to have anything to do with the economy, I believe in a tight fiscal budget and, very, very responsible spending. So I'm not a Republican, never have been. I'm not a Democrat, never have been. I voted Green Party and Libertarian my whole life. But I do think that these lefties are not doing themselves any favors by being violent. And it's getting the rest of the country to buy a hell of a lot more weapons because we know we need to defend against these lunatics. So, sorry, but you shot yourself in the foot again, so to speak, people.